Trump is paying down the federal debt. Now, I know we'll get all the naysayers. Trump isn't paying down the debt. And I know we'll get the other naysayers. Because we're never going to pay down the debt. They say, if we don't pay down the debt, we'll all be eating cat food in 3 years, blah, blah, blah. The country's going bankrupt. I actually don't care about the federal debt. I don't worry about it in the least. And the reason I worry about it at least because people say, well, the interest is going to be the biggest payment in the federal budget. I say, yeah, who receives the interest? Well, obviously, it's the bondholders, the people who lent money to the federal government. And so we are receiving the benefit of the federal government taking on debt. That's not a bad thing. We own the vast majority of the federal government debt. Once you understand that, you won't be as worried either. Once you understand who is the owners of the federal government bonds, it's not China. It's not Japan. I mean, they own a little bit, but not anything relative to what we own internally. And once you realize that, you're like, oh, that's true. We own it. That means we receive the interest from the federal government. The federal government takes a deficit. We take the surplus in terms of a surplus and interest income. It's just that simple. Now, will the federal government ever have zero debt? No, we don't want zero debt. But anyway, but for all those who are out there, we got to go back to the gold standard. I just think the ignorance of people about the gold standard boggles my mind. Do you not know how bad it was under the gold standard? Why do you think we got off the gold standard to begin with? Yeah. Anyway, so let's just go back and say why Trump's paying down the debt. Because they're massive exports of liquefied natural gas. I mean, it's going to be insane, dude. It's just hearing this heat wave. Now, I was in Maui during the heat wave, so I missed it. But up in Maine, I was doing this. I posted on my various socials about how the Northeast had a massive surge in LNG demand because of the heat wave. And they needed electricity to turn on their air conditioning units. And there's solar panels in Maine, wind turbines off the coast of Massachusetts, wherever the hell, they don't do it. They can't do it. It's just that simple. So, and then in Maine, we get import of electricity from Quebec Hydro. It's not enough, dude. It's not enough. I mean, it's good. I'm not going to say don't have any of that. But the idea that solar, wind, and hydro are going to give you all the capacity you need is just so freaking stupid. And even I think I read, what's that stupid chick's name? And Kathy Hochul in New York is even saying now that they're going to start approving nuclear power plant facilities. I think the first time in 50 years or something like that. Anyway, so our exports of LNG, because of horizontal fracking, with massive quantities of LNG. I subscribe to lots of these industry newsletters on energy, and that is including solar, by the way, and wind and biomass. I've been following the Biomass magazine for probably 15 years, but I subscribe. Do I read every single article? No. My main one is Marcellus Drilling News, MDN, the Utica Marcellus Shale up there in Pennsylvania. That's my main one. But MDN, and I follow all kinds of ones that follow what's going on in Permian Basin up there in North Dakota, stuff like that as well. The point being is, at the end of the day, we're getting so much activity and exporting liquefied natural gas, and these countries need it. 100% they need it. As such, we're going to make massive amounts of income off these things, which all be subject to income taxes or sales taxes or whatever the taxes are, the excise taxes, whatever it is. It's fantastic. Massive increase in exports. And we're, not just. Right now, we have a massive increase in exports because Trump was on a world tour, the Middle East world tour, talk about, we can give Saudi Arabia and UAE and whatnot, our airplane manufacturing and stuff. And so we're manufacturing airplanes, we're manufacturing weapons systems for the Middle East. And look, I hate the fact we got to manufacture weapons, but be it as it may, that's still a net positive. I mean, someone's going to do it. It might as well be us. But the facts are, we are when it comes to LNG, it's us, dude. We crush. And in fact, it's interesting, the Russians are trying to get a foothold in Mexico. Now, under Sniffy Joe or Snoopy Obama, that might work because they're so scared of their own shadows and they frankly hate it. Biden doesn't hate America. Obama probably doesn't hate America. I think Michelle does, Big Mike. But at the end of the day, Trump says, no, I love America. I'm not going to let the Russians get a foothold in sending freaking natural gas to Mexico. No, Mexico, because if you want to do business with us, you're going to buy our natural gas. And remember, Biden put the kibosh? What's it called? Kibosh? Is that a Jewish thing? Like kibosh? Yeah, what if that is? Is that a Hebrew? They put the kibosh on exporting natural gas. At the same time, Europe was desperate for us because their policies on basically banning Russia was just stupid. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, the point being is we're going to export so much natural gas. We're going to get paid so much that we can start paying off. Hopefully, we use some of that money to pay off the federal debt that the foreigners own. I don't know if we can pick and choose. I have no clue how it works. I bet no one really does. Do we say China, we got 100 bonds outstanding. China, you own one of them because basically they own about $1 trillion. No, hell. Yeah, I guess China owns what, $800 billion of our debt. We have 37 billion of debt. So we'll just say one. So we got 40 bonds outstanding. China owns one roughly. Was that 2.5%? Something like that? Yeah, I think it's 2.5%. Damn, dude, I'm a genius. I would say call me Einstein, but we know Einstein was a fraud. Call me Newton. I'm like Newton, yeah. And Newton also had questions about, just look at Newton's questions about religion. You'll find it very interesting. Like, well, I didn't know Newton had questions. Very interesting. He was a Christian, absolutely, but he had questions. So just call me the next Isaac Newton. Anyway, so we'll say China, we got 40 bonds outstanding. You got 2.5 of those bonds, 2.5%, whatever it is. Yeah, 2.5. So you got 40 bonds outstanding. China goes, 2.5%. So whatever that is, I guess one bond out of 40. Anyway, you get where I'm going. Yeah, I think it's one bond out of 40. There you go. So China, we're going to identify the one bond you own. We're going to pay your money back, and then we're going to basically mature that bond. We're going to close that sucker out. That way China doesn't own our bonds. If you want to do that, that's fine. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But at the end of the day, that's how we start paying down debt. We start exporting stuff left and right. I'm going to do another video here in just a second. Well, I'm actually barbecuing or grilling some baked potatoes. I think the grill's too hot. We got to turn that down. You got to do it half high. You got to do, what did she say? What did that lady say? 350 on one side of the grill, and then the other side not heated, and yet my whole grill is showing 500. Yeah, anyway, so I've never barbecued baked potatoes before, so I do barbecue and freaking corn. Dude, that is the cast me out right there. Just make sure you got that sucker smothered in butter. Oh, and not margarine. No, margarine's for suckers. Only people in the north like margarine. You know, people don't like the ladies like margarine. Be like me and like butter. Butter is so good, especially if it's fresh from the farm. It's not been pasteurized. Anyway, so the point being is we got massive quantities of liquefied natural gas. Even Trump is pushing exporting coal too. So all these people like, oh, I'm banning Trump because Iran. Yeah, you guys suck, dude. I'm just like, give me a break. None of this would happen without Trump. That's all there is to it. You might not like the thing with Iran. So far, it seems pretty good to me, man. I didn't want us to get involved in it. But, we got involved in it to the best of our capability. And Trump said, we're moving on. And Israel and Iran better keep the peace. I love it. I think it's fantastic. We showed some might. And we're saying, stop this. Stop this. And Trump's freaking crushing. And we see the markets go back up. They hit a record high. Remember, oh, my goodness, Trump's tariffs. Oh, and here's the market. It's great to be king. And we are king. And people need us more than we need them. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts.